Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this time to make an apology. Sonic Shuffle, I am so sorry. For years I have classified you as the most mediocre party game I've ever played. Until now, Mary-Kate and Ashley's Sweet 16 License to Drive for the Nintendo GameCube. This is what we looked like when we started, and this is what we looked like when we couldn't take it anymore. From just one board, with the lowest amount of turns selected. So without further ado, here's just a small sample of what me and the guys experienced when we played Mary-Kate and Ashley's Sweet 16 License to Drive for the first time.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ethan.
And I'm Bryan.
And welcome to our, what is this? Marvel Studios The Eternals, Review and Synopsis podcast. Yay.
A movie that could have been summed up in an hour and a half, maybe at most 2 hours.
This movie did not need to be 2.5 hours. Great, so with that excellent introduction. I guess you viewers can tell that this was a polarizing film, to say the least. This is really a historic moment, I suppose, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because this is their very first rotten film on the Rotten Tomatoes meter. Their very first one.
Technically not the first bad one. Technically.
Because
the first bad one, I think people would consider probably Iron Man 3.
Maybe.
And then followed by Thor the Dark World.
Like, I don't mind those movies. I'd go watch them again.
Iron Man 3 I would definitely go watch again. I don't think I would go back and watch Thor the Dark World.
Oh, really?
Because Thor the Dark World was basically just used to set up future installments and not really be a individual film. Kind of like how Black Widow was used to just set up Yelena and her family more than it was to actually give Black Widow a solo film.
Age of Ultron. Yeah, just a setup film for that. But in the eyes of the critics, this is Marvel's very first rotten scored, below 60% reviewed movie ever. Very first one. I guess it is subjective to say which ones before this were either good or bad, favorable, non-favorable, but to the eyes of the critics, this is not a good movie. And I don't know, the audience score on the tomato page says that it's 80%. I don't think it's that good. And maybe today's discussion will be kind of interesting, because I did not like the movie, but Bryan, you somewhat enjoyed it?
Yeah, no, I thought that it was a decent film. I wouldn't say that it's like bad. It's just hard to make an interesting film about characters that aren't interesting.
Like in the comics,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, yes. Because the Eternals in the comics are just as bland, if not even more bland, than what we saw in this movie.
I see. So was it kind of doomed by proxy then?
Basically.
Okay.
I think the only reason they really did the Eternals is to, at least in the MCU, because, you know, when you do comics, you're able to introduce characters in other stories and then give them their own spin-offs. I mean, that's how Spider-Man worked, because Spider-Man was originally part of the X-Men, and then he got his own thing.
Wait, really?
Or unless I'm thinking about someone else, but I believe so.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I do believe that Spider-Man did start in the X-Men and then split off.
Huh, okay.
To get like a backstory comic, and then it just like went off on its own.
Cool.
But yeah, no, so it's something else. It really is.
It's something else. Okay.
Because it's hard to make a movie around characters that aren't interesting, and I think in this, they just use that to set up the Celestials and set up other things than really make a film about them.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot my original point, and then I remembered it, so I was trying to segue.
Yeah, but like, okay, but
so-
I just like, because you're the comic book guy, you know more about the comic books than I do.
Because comics are able to like split off and have their own spin-offs and like have a lot more time to develop characters and show them off than movies do.
Yeah.
I think the reason why this one was made and why they made it about the Eternals was just so that they could set up the Celestials and set up other characters that'll be important later, like the Black Knight, which we'll get into.
Sonic and the... We'll be discussing today, like, because Bryan knows, like, maybe my opinion will kind of, like, be... I'm not gonna say change because this is a bad movie, but like it'll be more informed now that I know the comic book backstory because of it. Because
different perspective.
Sure, different perspective, right? Is to see how this movie failed so miserably. This was not a good movie, folks. We watched it at separate times. I watched it by myself. Me and this other group of dudes that are sitting right in front of me, we're just making fun of it throughout the entire thing. I don't know about you, Bryan.
No, my theater stayed pretty quiet. I mean, they laughed every once in a while to like a few jokes. I mean, I just it is so easy to make me laugh, so I'll basically laugh at like anything. So
Penis.
I was laughing throughout the film.
Penis.
But yeah, no. But for the most part, my theater stayed pretty quiet.
All right. So with that said, if you happen to like this movie and like, you should go watch the movie yourself before coming to listen to our coverage of it, because we're going to be discussing major spoilers throughout this entire movie. That's just a proxy of how we do things here on this channel. Please subscribe, and we'd like to ask you to just like and subscribe to our channel so you can keep up to date with all of our movie review and synopsis podcasts. And so this will be for the show for today.
Yeah.
Just like, if you happen to like this movie, like, take what we're about to say with a grain of salt. But if you did not like this movie, kind of like me, then you might agree with me and like be smiling throughout this entire thing, or like to like better build your opinions on like why this movie is like not good. I'm sorry, this is not a good movie, and I cannot stand like the people in the comment section of those Marvel Studios posts. I know the algorithm's like very swayed towards like positive vibes and all that, but like on the actual Marvel Studios Instagram page, the comments are like, "This is the best movie I've ever seen. Wow!" Heart eyes, stars, glitter everywhere and everywhere. Have you seen all that?
I don't really look in comments of Instagram posts. I just look at the post and I'm like.
The like drone.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like it's the same thing with like Discord chats. I'm a lurker. Like I'll respond every once in a while.
I am the watcher.
I won't contribute to like meme chats, but I'll look at the memes.
Right.
I'm just like, I am the watcher.
I am the watcher. Alrighty then. So with that said, how about we first get into what happened in this 2.5 hour movie? It did not. The story here is not very complex at all. There are scenes throughout this entire movie where they just
I think the
stretch out
entire
things.
like first not like the opening, but like the first flashback scene that we get of like it being in the past.
Yeah.
Like the first big one when they're protecting that one city. It's like daylight and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that entire scene could have been cut out.
Yeah, nothing really happened.
Yeah, no, I think
like they fended off that one city from the deviants air attack, and then they just kind of hung out when it was nighttime, right?
Yeah, and then we I mean, the only like notable thing that we got from that was kind of setting up the fact that Kingo enjoyed listening to Sprite's stories. That's like the only really notable thing we get from that. Like,
yeah, we didn't really need to see that then.
I mean, especially since they explain it later on. I mean, I guess it is like a way like
this movie generally kind of took that also the Shang-Chi approach of like having flashbacks for the sake of flashback. Well, like not saying like the flashbacks in Shang-Chi were bad. They were kind of necessary, but they also kind of relied on them to like have the flashbacks develop the character.
Yeah.
Purely. Like, they didn't do it in the present day time as well. This film kind of followed that, roughly.
And I see that. But I think the only flashback scenes that actually contributed were... or like the only flashback scene that I can think of that actually contributed to the story was the one where Druig has his like existential crisis.
Kind of.
And I think the reason why is because that kind of explains why the group. Because again, show don't tell. That explains why. Like they show us whilst explaining to us why the team split up in the first place.
Yeah, that would kind of... Okay, so I guess that was kind of necessary, yeah.
Which kind of fitting that a guy who controls minds starts a cult.
Why wasn't he the bad guy? That's like literal bad guy material. I thought he was going to be the main villain after that. I really wish he was, but no.
We'll get into it.
Okay. So, like, another point why this film didn't need to be 2 hours, 30 minutes long, because, like, remember, this film kind of opens like a Star Wars movie with the text crawl and everything.
Yeah, no,
But the thing that was bad about it is that, because, you know, in the Star Wars movies, the text crawl, like, kind of sets up what's about to be shown. This title crawl just describes what's about to be shown. It doesn't set it up at all, it just shows exactly what's going to happen. It's like it tells you what's going to happen, and then it happens. It's not a setup, it's just a description. Yeah,
kind of like how they show us Kingo fawning over Sprite stories, and then they tell us later on in the film, when Kingo's like, I liked hearing your stories.
Yeah, kind of. But, like, they did it in the text crawl. Like, they didn't set up anything. Mm-hmm. They already had... Like, they inserted that text crawl in for the sake of having it, because they already filmed the setup, and I didn't like it. It was just telling the same thing twice. Yeah, once in text. It would basically be the equivalent of if A New Hope's title crawl started
ended with there was a battle between two starships,
and we saw the actual.
And then we saw the starships.
Yeah, right. It was not good. Oh yeah. Also, side thing, my theater, they forgot to turn the lights off for the beginning, and so someone actually had to go out and tell them our theater still had the lights on.
How?
So I actually couldn't see. I really couldn't see most of the beginning because of the light.
That's just really fucking funny.
It was funny.
Oh man,
all right, but where do we go from the title crawl?
So we go from the title crawl and we see the Eternals waking up in their ship because they are given a new mission by their what's the name of the Celestial again?
The red one. We don't care.
it's like Kareem or something.
Kareem Oliver Diaz.
Arashim.
That's the name.
Arashim the Judge.
Arashim the Judge. Gotcha. So that's the name of the Red Celestial of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, he sends him off to Earth in like the year 7000 BC, right?
Yeah.
And they fight deviants, right?
They fight deviants. Their whole thing is that they are to save humanity from. So what they are told is that they're saving humanity from these deviants, which is only half true.
For like the very premise of like the comic book stuff, right? They're the Celestials, the Eternals, and then the deviants, right?
Yes.
Explain.
So, in the comic, so there are a lot of differences between the comics and this movie. From the origins to the powers, there are several differences. Some minor, some kind of major. But the deviants in the comics were a lot less animalistic than these ones are.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They kind of just look like deformed mutants.
Huh. But humanoid.
Yeah, like humanoid, deformed people. But in this, they're just animalistic. Like some of them just straight up look like wolves.
Interesting.
So I mean, that's like the biggest visual difference between the deviants. And obviously, because the deviants in the comics are more humanoid in nature, they have slightly better cognitive skills than these ones do.
Right, because like the wolves, they don't have any faculties of reason.
Yeah, no, they just attack.
Yeah, I actually didn't mind that element. It was almost like they're a pack of hounds or something sent off to do their task or whatever. And they just act like that. There's no like big brain guy until like the middle of the movie, which is kind of forgotten about. But,
very middle to the end, and yeah, he is really forgotten about. And I thought that was going to be like the big bad, and then they were like, no, there's an even bigger bad. And I'm just like, you had him.
Exactly. Like, oh my god. Like think about it. When the tie-in toys for this movie are going to come out, they're obviously going to make that dude the main villain of the toys, right?
Probably.
But not in the movie. The movie just kind of has him for like, what, 3 minutes of screen time?
From his earliest form to his final form, I would probably say more like at most 20. But a majority of those minutes were just from the first fight scene. Where he was still in his like base form. So if we're talking like final form, no more than 5.
His final form, that's what I'm mentioning. Because like that's when he gets a voice actor.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Eternals, they're sent to Earth, and they're like, hey, destroy the Deviants, which they do, and they eradicate them all, and we see them eradicate more and more as the film goes on in flashback scenes. Anyways.
That's basically their whole purpose of existence, right?
Yeah, is just to protect humanity from the Deviants.
Yeah, and Celestials are the ones that send them there.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have to do that for as long as time. This is what they're given.
They're told to do it until they're sent back. They were told to after they eradicated the Deviants, they were told to wait until Erishim asked for their return, which he just doesn't ask for, because of the twist.
Yeah, so like they go from 7000 BC, then skip all the way to 2024, right?
We're in 2023, 2020. I don't fucking know what year we're in.
I think it's 24.
Okay.
At the very end of that 7000 BC area, Cersei kind of like forms a tiny knife and he just gives it to him.
Yeah, no, and then in present day we see this like news broadcast in New York as Cersei's heading to work, and it's like ancient relic recently found, and it's the same knife.
Yeah, and that's just kind of dropped.
Yeah, no, again, the Eternals are basically just used for like context building for the history of the world that we see.
I see.
Because, obviously we've had world building before in the MCU, like multiple cases of it, but this is where we get like a history building, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Where like we see like the changes between the history of their world versus ours, like how a majority of these Eternals were inspirations for the MCU's versions of our mythologies, like ancient Greek and Roman. With Icarus being the inspiration for the Icarus story of flying too close to the sun, Athena being the goddess Athena.
Yeah, like all the Eternals are named after like, or somewhat named after like what, Greek and Roman gods?
Yeah, like Phastos, because he's a forger. He was probably the in their history. He was probably the inspiration for Hephaestus, who was the forger of the gods.
See, I actually don't mind that detail. I wish the film did.
Yeah, like if the film would have focused more on that, like if they would have cut out the deviant plot and just stuck with the emergence as the big like climax, big like MacGuffin of the film, and then they had a whole bunch more history building in the film. Like I wouldn't have minded those history scenes if they would have added more history context to them.
Right, because we only get this one knife, and even the forging of the knife back in 7000 BC is just kind of done for the sake of the story, I guess.
Yeah, just for the sake of that little visual gag.
Right, yeah.
Kind of like how in Shang-Chi, that whole bar scene in the beginning was just to set up the joke at the end.
Right, yeah.
So, like, there's like very tiny setup on payoffs, but you never see them again. And kind of like how they kind of just like throw out there, and it's like Athena, goddess of war, like that's who she is, and it's just like, haha, that's your personality now, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah. I would have liked the film, because that's actually not a bad idea.
Like if they would have like focused a lot more on the history of it, and the history building of it, I think this movie could have done a lot more with that. Yeah. And if it would have done a lot more with that, then you could have gotten like all the history buffs in on it. For example,
sure.
like
so Gilgamesh is named after the one story of like Gilgamesh in Mesopotamia or something like that.
Yeah, and like I would have loved something like that, because when I came out of the movie theater, there was one joke that I said to my group of friends, and it was this: because at the end of the film, I'm just gonna say this now, and then we can get on with the film. At the end of the film, Sprite, one of the Eternals, is given the chance to be human, and she takes it. And then because she's like because she has the body of a 13-year-old. And now she has to live life starting as a 13-year-old. She has to go through school. And I honestly would find it hilarious if there was like a spin-off show of her going to school and just calling out all the historical inaccuracies that they teach. I would love something like that. Because especially with her personality that she's given, like it would make so much sense for her to do that.
That'd actually be funny.
Right? Have it in like the Office kind of like a mockumentary kind of style too.
Right. And then all of her classmates would bully her and call her Sprite Cranberry.
Want a Sprite Cranberry?
I do not like Sprite.
But yeah, no, so in present day we see Cersei as she's running late to work, because that's how you set up someone's personality. Oh look, they're late. Whoop-de-doo.
History teacher. Which is kind of funny like that.
So she heads off to work, and when she gets to work, she runs into her boyfriend, kind of maybe boy man, who is
the setup.
Yeah, the setup.
Yeah, the setup.
The setup. And he's like basically taking over right now, like trying to like stall for her to get there. She gets there. They have this semi-cute moment. He leaves. She takes over the class. While she's teaching, oh no, earthquake. Earthquake happens. And then they continue on with their day. We then cut to her in a bar with him. What the fuck is his name?
Dane something.
Dane? I think in the cast they just call him the Black Knight.
They're making out. Oh my god.
And then we also see this other woman who's hitting on this guy, and then he touches her hand, and then she like glows yellow, and then he's like, what the fuck was that? She's like, I got a dip. See ya.
Because I'm a. That's called pedophilia.
So this is where we get introduced to Sprite. And I mean, other than the opening introduces us to everybody, but we don't really see their personalities until they're introduced in the present.
Yeah, they're all split up at the moment because of narrative reasons.
Yes.
And you know, I don't mind this little banter. I actually find it quite funny, actually, because the universe they're all living in is like, why won't you move in with me, Cersei? Oh, I just can't. It's because you're a superhero, isn't it? Yeah. I kind of like that. and you know, like,
why didn't you guys stop Thanos? He wasn't a deviant.
You know, they're not miffed by all of this because of the world that they live in. There's like 100,000 superheroes in the world.
The same thing kind of happens in the comics as well. Like there have been like literal jokes in the comics where like people have been saved, and then they're like, dang it, I was expecting a different superhero to save me.
That's actually hilarious.
Because they all live in New York. They all live in the same city. And you would think that if every superhero was operating from the same city, you would see more of them often. Like, honestly, at this point, even if it's just like a little bit of CGI, I feel like at this point in the MCU, they should start making it to where like in the background of some scenes, you just see like one of the superheroes just like fly by or something, or like you see them walk by in the background without their suit on. Like, it'd be funny to see like Paul Rudd cross the street next to Hawkeye in the TV show.
That'd be hilarious.
Like that because like they all share the same universe and they all basically live in the same place, so it'd be really easy to do, even if it's like really far in the background, like a flying superhero that's just really far in the background and it's just like a CGI dot.
It's Iron Man.
Like just something like that. Like just that amount of detail would be really fun to see. I think they even call attention to that in the comics, where it's like you would think that in a universe where everyone operates from the same city, you'd see more of you guys.
That's funny though.
But yeah, no, so we do get some superhero banter between them. And then we also get, this is where we're introduced to Sprite's
Want a Sprite Cranberry?
internal conflict. And I guess you could say it might be controversial.
Yeah.
Because while the actress herself is 13 and the character is supposed to look like a 13-year-old, the character herself isn't 13.
Right.
She just, her mind ages. She just physically doesn't age, and that's because she's a robot creation.
Yeah, you already explained to me off air that this is actually common in anime.
Yeah, no, in anime, they make like there are some animes that you can find where there will be like I think it might even be in like JoJo, where there will be like a female character who looks like she's like 14, but in reality she's like a million years old, and then there's a guy character who looks like he should be in like his 40s, but he's actually like 17. Like there are cases of that in anime, and
but
so
that's just how they're drawn, though.
Yeah, and in this, the character herself is technically not 13. She just has the body of a 13-year-old.
And she recognizes this.
Yeah, her entire conflict in this is that it's impossible, basically, for her to find love because of the way she looks, because she physically does not age. But her mind does, and so she constantly just has this anger towards the world.
Yeah. Or like towards a celestial, or towards her creator, I guess.
Yeah. Because
why did you make me this way?
Continuing on, deviant attacks, because the deviants have come back after thousands of years. So the deviants come back and attack Cersei, Dean, and Sprite. Cersei. So, should we get into their powers now, or should we get into them later?
Well, I don't know what you mean by that.
Like all of their powers, because they each individually have their own separate powers.
Sure.
Okay. Because we do kind of see their powers in action in the opening fight.
Yeah.
So, let me just pull up the cast list, because I remember their individual powers. I just don't remember like their names. So, Thena, she is basically like the trained fighter of them all, and she her power is that she's able to conjure weapons, basically.
Yeah.
Like she can conjure swords, she can conjure swords, a shield, and like a spear thing.
Yeah, spear. I think a bow and arrow too at one point.
Yeah. So her whole thing is that she can conjure weapons and use them to fight. There's Icarus, who is basically the Superman stand-in.
They kind of just say that.
Yeah. He can fly. He has super strength, and he has laser vision. There's Cersei, who has the ability to change the material compound of things. Like she can turn a tree, she turned a tree into water.
I can turn things into water.
Which Dean even makes a joke about it, where after he finds out what her power is, and is like, wait, so you were like King Midas? There's Druig, who has the ability to control minds, specifically that of humans. I don't think he can control other Eternals' minds.
I don't think so, no.
There's Ajak, who is basically like the...
We don't really see what her powers is, because she's...
she can heal herself.
Well, not anymore.
She has the ability to heal, which in this fight we do see the main deviant using that ability. There's Gilgamesh, who is basically the muscle.
Yeah.
There's Sprite, who we just saw. Her whole thing is that she can create illusions, like turn her, like make it look like she's invisible, make herself look older, make herself look like other people.
She can make herself look older, but she still has the bad feeling about like, I'm stuck in this body, but you can literally create your own body and just.
Well, it's because the body isn't real.
Yeah.
Because when the guy in the bar, when the guy touched her, she like started to disappear and like glow.
Yeah.
And it's because like that body wasn't real.
I'm sorry. I just can't go over this. They don't need to be romanticized.
There's Kingo, who
best character.
who basically has these little like blasters.
Finger guns, yeah.
And then there's Makari, who is
Sonic.
yeah. Okay, look.
Huh.
I did like the way that they did Makari's super speed, because I like seeing super speed from an outside perspective and not from like the slow motion first person perspective, like they do in like the Flash TV show and stuff.
Okay.
I like the outside perspective, but I'm sorry, the actress who played Makari, I do love the actress and I don't mind the character, but in an interview, she said that the Flash, that Makari would easily beat the Flash in a race. No. The Flash literally went so fast that he broke the DC and Marvel barrier and went into Marvel. I'm not kidding. He went from DC to Marvel, forgot who he was, created a new name, and he just was a completely different character in the Marvel comics for a little bit, and then he went back to DC.
I hate comic books.
That is how, like, he literally goes so fast, he creates his own dimension called the Speed Force, which is where he draws his power from. He can literally just enter it anytime he wants. All Makari can do is go slightly faster than the speed of light.
Slightly faster. Also about Makari, I don't know if this is the direction or just this is the actor. Is she actually deaf?
I do believe so.
Okay, so she actually does communicate with sign language.
Yes.
Okay.
Which so the reason why I like that is because I like that they didn't even have to acknowledge it. They just treated her like that's just how, like, I did like that.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
I didn't like that they had to like draw attention to it and like be like, oh hey look, she's deaf, so we gotta treat her differently. Like,
oh my god, you can't speak English. I can't speak any language. You fuck.
So I mean, it was nice that they didn't even have to like acknowledge it. They just did it. And then last but not least, there's Fastos, who is
I'm gay.
who has the ability to
homosexual. Oh.
Well, okay, look, I like the representation in this film.
It's like how the ability to do what?
He has the ability to basically look at resources that are available on the planet.
Right, yeah,
and,
he's the smart one.
Yeah, no, like in one of their flashback scenes, he literally was able to create the steam engine like 500 years before it would have been invented.
Right, yeah.
And then even though he is an internal, there is Karun, or Karun. He's the...
oh, yeah.
Yeah. One of the best characters.
Kingo's agent.
Yeah.
Best character, too.
Yeah. But, so look, when it comes to Fastos's homosexuality in this film, I love it. And the reason why is because... So, I don't mind wokeness in movies. The only time I do mind it is when they try to shove it down your throat.
Okay.
Like, for example, in some movies, like when they have a gay character and that entire character's personality is that they're gay. Like, that's all their personality is that they're gay. Or like every 5 minutes they have to remind us that character is gay.
Right.
While in this, they just do it. Like, they don't have to, they hardly ever bring attention to it. They just make it part of his character, and that's it. Because they set him up first and then introduce it.
Like, they treat it as if it's normal. And that goes with, like, all of them.
Yeah.
Too. Because, like, this is, again, one of, like, the most, I guess, quote, diverse casts that you'll ever see. Well, this is their language, not mine. But, like, yeah. We've got, like, what? The gay guy, the pedophilic one. The tiny one, the Asian one, the Superman one, the like 50-year-old white one, the Indian one again, and I'm like missing like all of them. The Asian one again.
Yeah, no, Gilgamesh is his actor. I believe is Korean, because he was in a movie called Train to Busan. Which is a zombie movie that takes place in South Korea, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just how the casting of this goes. And that might also be the reason why this film exists in the first place, was just to like serve those quote diverse communities. And like you actually bring a good attention into detail about it, because they don't shove all this directly at your face. Like you said, they don't have the I'm gay guy going like, hey guys, don't forget, I'm gay.
Or like he doesn't act like a stereotypical gay person.
Right.
Like once they introduce that, like they keep him he's consistent throughout the entire film.
Yeah, and like, with his character specifically, it actually makes sense because the Eternals can't reproduce, even though the story has them have sex, and I don't like that. But they can't reproduce. But Phastos does want to be a father, and the only way he actually can do that here in this context is like to become a gay father, because if he had married a woman, that wouldn't be possible.
Well, I mean adoption, but he would have had to basically like lie to her and be like, I'm infertile.
Yeah, exactly. So no, it actually makes sense in this context. But my point is, maybe the reason why this film got like such a low critic score is because it didn't do that. It didn't remind the audience that like, hey guys, I'm gay and that's my entire personality. Because we know for like a fact, many of these critics on the tomato page are like very slanted towards the woke and just like love it to death. And that's why they give like really bad movies like the highest scores possible, because I'm gay. You know, that's kind of why Last Jedi is scored so high up on the tomato meters, because of that one purple haired character. And she just shoved her feminism into everybody's faces, especially Poe's.
Oh, are you talking about the one who's literally just Finn, but a woman?
What?
Wait, no. Wait.
That's Rise of Skywalker.
That's
Last
Rise
Jedi.
of Skywalker. Oh, that's right. Last Jedi.
Purple-haired woman.
Oh, that's right. The entire pointless subplot about her lying to Poe when she could have just told him the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the only reason she existed was just to shove, like, a woman can be so much powerful than a man. And, Poe's great in that movie, actually, but like that entire plot surrounding him and the Holdo lady, very bad. Very
Somehow,
bad.
Palpatine returned.
That's Rise of Skywalker, but no, like Last Jedi rather is like scored like in the 90s on the tomato meter, while the audience score is like in the low 40s.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they had Miss Feminism like shove her feminism directly in the face of the audience all the damn time. The critics really love that though, especially.
I'm just remembering the fucking throne room saber fight with all those mistakes. I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Snoke in his pimp jacket.
Yeah, it's bad, but like no, I'm thinking that's the reason why this film got such a low score now, is because they had all the quote diverse casting and everything, but they didn't shove it in anybody's faces. Not the audiences, not the characters, not anyone.
Yeah, I think that's why the audience might have liked it, is because it didn't shove it down your throat.
At least according to that, I hate the movie because of the narrative reasons and all that. I don't hate it because of like the diversity or something or whatever.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I agree with you on that. I think the diversity is probably the best thing that this film did, is just that it was able to have this such diverse cast and not have to shove it down your throat that they're such diverse
right,
cast.
Yeah.
Because even the original Eternals were like very diverse. I mean, Kingo's character, his origin is probably the most comic book accurate, because Kingo in the comics as well as in the movie, his whole thing is that because they live forever, basically, he just used his immortality to just make movies. He just wanted to be a famous Bollywood star, and so that's what he did. Which one of my favorite jokes is from him, and it's when they're on his private jet, and he's like, "Oh no, this was my great grandfather, this was my grandfather, this was my father, and then this is me," and it's all just him.
Oh yeah, I love that bit too. Best character.
Right. And so like that was a really funny joke, because it really played with like their immortality and how easy it was to fool like humans.
Right. Yeah.
Of just all you had to say was, "This was my grandfather."
Which is hilarious.
Yes. But yeah, no, like so look, we found something that we agree on this film.
Exactly. Yeah.
That they didn't have to shove wokeness down our throats.
No, they don't. They can just have it presented right there, and make nothing about it, because like they didn't make a big deal about deaf character at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not at all. But that's probably why this film got low scores, because they didn't do that.
So anyways, onwards. Sorry about that really long tangent. That really long tangent to bring us to one thing that we can agree on.
Hey, look, guys, black people.
Fastos? But yeah, so Icarus comes in and saves Cersei and Sprite from the deviant that can heal itself, which they're like, oh my god, it can heal itself. They're evolving. Icarus and Cersei have a moment because they used to be lovers.
Oh no.
They used to be lovers at one point in the really far past, giving us a PG-13 sex scene.
I made a joke in the theater that's like when Cersei and Icarus started making out. They're like, hey, look, guys, it's the Marvel's first sex scene. Look at that. And then they proceeded to do an actual sex scene. I was like, what the fuck? I was joking. Everyone laughed at that.
Yeah, no, it
was not necessary.
That was the one thing I knew about the film going into it, was that there was a PG-13 sex scene, and so I
thought that was a joke.
So
I thought that was a joke. I was not expecting that.
I took it seriously. I was expecting the movie to prove me wrong, because like I was just waiting for it, right? I was just waiting for it. I'm just like, where's the sex scene? And then it came on, and I'm just like, wait, that's the sex scene everyone was going crazy about? It was barely any. That's just in a regular PG-13 movie. Just like, why is this so big to you guys? And then I remembered, oh wait, that's right, it's Marvel.
It's Marvel, right? Yeah, but it was not necessary. Again, I don't understand why the Eternals need to feel romanticism in their programming, especially that we learn later on that they're robots. But at the second time, as a directional standpoint, why is this sex scene here? Why does there need to be a sex scene? There does not need to be a sex scene here. It is not at all. And I'm very worried about the direction of Marvel now, is because I know I said in Black Widow that it was like they're testing the waters to get into more like dark tones and all that and stuff. With Phase 4, more mature tones and all that. Kids are still going to these movies. I noticed that in my audience generally. There are a lot of kids in this movie.
I didn't really get that many kids when I went. It was mostly just like I think there was like. Including my group, there were 4 groups in total. I think there were 2, and I think all 3 of them were couples. All 3 of the other groups that were with us. I think all 3 of them were couples, but there was no kids.
But like, there are a lot of like 9 to 10-year-old kids in that theater being exposed to that. That is not good. Like, I understand the philosophy of we watched, we were 6 years old when Iron Man came out, we were 16 when Infinity War came out, now we're 19 when Black Widow came out, and Black Widow was the first one to like very dark and mature tones and all that. Mm-hmm. It's still kind of lighthearted in areas, same thing with Shang-Chi and all that, and so they really doubled down with this, and well, I wouldn't say doubled down, they did double down in Falcon Winter Soldier, but like,
yeah,
they got more into it in this movie with giving this a sex scene a green light in this movie. We're 19 when these films are coming out. Well, that's cool and all. Like, the movies are growing up along with our own personalities and all that. But kids are still coming to these movies. Like, kids born in 2009 are coming into this movie. My cousin's 2009 was born in 2009. That is scary as fuck. And she's 11 now. Damn. So yeah, I would just very, very cautiously warn our audiences if they plan to have like little family members, like people born 2009, 2010, what have you, about watching these movies like right now, because that was not necessary at all and probably scarring. It did not need to be a thing, though. I know you like sex, but it did not need to be a thing.
Yeah, for the most part, I agree. Like, I agree that it didn't really need to be in there because, I mean, they already set us up. Like, they already set it up that Cersei and Icarus were a thing, and so I don't think that they needed to show up that. Because they were already setting it up and they already established it.
Yeah, like, even if they were to like go along with the like the Eternals can feel romanticism yet they can't reproduce, that's fine and all that, just for the sake of argument. They just didn't need to have the sex in there at all.
Mm-hmm. Where were we?
I fucking hate this movie.
Yeah, no, this movie is kind of all over the place. So Icarus saved them, and then that's right. They decided
to have the family reunion.
Yes. So the first person they go to seek out is Ajak. They do find she's dead. They're like, oh no, she died. Oh, something I forgot to mention. Ajak was given this little like orb thing that went into like her neck, or like her chest or something, went into her, and she like absorbed it, and it was basically a way for her to communicate with Arashim when she needed to, and so what I can gather from how the movie explained it is, or at least how the movie showed it, is that when the person who has that dies, they choose who they want the recipient to be when they're found, and she chose Cersei, which at first everyone is like, wait, why'd you choose you over Icarus? Because they're all like, Icarus should be the leader, because like it's Icarus, he's Superman. There's nothing bad about him.
I didn't feel that at all, actually. Even before the plot twist, I didn't actually see why Icarus needed to be the one. I don't feel like there's that kind of stigma, actually.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. I was honestly surprised as to why some people were like some of the Eternals were like, Icarus should be the leader, and I'm just like, honestly, I don't think there should be a leader. You're all different. I mean, I get...
like, Ajak was the leader, though.
Yeah, I mean, Ajak was, but that's because, I mean, one, she was the healer, and...
Our cleric is dead! No!
Like, one, she was the healer, and two, she was almost like a motherly figure to them.
Right, yeah.
And so it made sense for her to be the leader. But because they're all, like, brothers, it's kind of like deciding who's going to run the house when the parents leave. Like everyone thinks that they should do it,
right?
Because even though they all have different qualifications as to why they should be, so I mean, like it's
okay.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, I actually get that. Makes sense now. Actually, now that I'm seeing about it, because like when we first meet up with Kingo, he's making a movie about Icarus.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that now.
And like Sprite's whole kind of love triangle. It's
neo-pedophilia.
It's technically it's not pedophilia.
That's what all pedophilia.
It's like everyone trying to. It's kind of like the debate we had over whether or not Loki and Sylvie's relationship was technically incest.
I was joking. Okay, that's cute. I was joking. Technically, this is masturbation.
No, because I've heard like honestly, I'm part of I'm on the side that thinks that their relationship was incest, and the reason why is because the only difference between the two of them, technically speaking, in universe explanation, even though Marvel has come out and said that their relationship isn't incestuous, I think otherwise, and the reason why,
of course they'd say that.
The reason why is because in universe they have the same parents. Loki was just born a woman. That is the only difference between the two of them. Is that Sylvie was born a woman instead of a man like Loki was. So that means that they have the same genes. That's incest. I don't care what you say, that is technically incest. Anyways, back to Eternals. Pedophilia. But no, okay, look, you know what? I'm not going to spend any more time debating the whole, like, whether or not it's pedophilia. You have your side, I have mine.
Okay.
Continuing on. So, yeah. Sprite kind of has a thing for Icarus, but Icarus doesn't see it. Icarus wants Cersei. Cersei wants Icarus. Icarus is evil. Icarus and the sun. Anyways.
Not yet.
Foreshadowing. But, yeah, so we see them seek out Ajak. Ajak gives the thing to Ajax's dead body, gives the orb to Cersei. Cersei then has a visit with Arashim. Arashim's just like, you're not done, bitch. Go back and do your job. And she's like, okay. So she comes back, and everyone's like, where the hell were you? And she's just like, I talked to Arashim. Huh? So then they go and search out other members of the Eternals. The first one being Kingo.
Best character.
Which would make sense that they went to go find Kingo first, because Kingo is the most famous out of all of them.
Yeah.
So they go to find Kingo, and Kingo is in the middle of shooting a movie, which honestly, like this was a really good scene. I like this intro to Kingo.
Yeah, I do,
because it sets up his ego that he's built, being a like superstar in the movie industry.
Right. And you know, just generally speaking about the 10 of them, if you didn't happen to like the 3 you met previously, everyone loves Kingo.
Yeah, no, everyone coming out of the film is like Kingo best character.
Kingo is the best character. Like, even if you like or don't like the other 9, everyone loves Kingo.
Yeah, Kingo and his agent, they are the best. They're like Happy and Tony. They're just, they're such a great duo.
I can totally see that.
And so yeah, so Kingo is in the middle of shooting a scene, which I really did like this scene just because back when I was in a performing arts company outside of school a few years back, there was this charity that was held called the Apple of His Eye charity. Which was a charity to help support people living in poverty in like the Middle East. And so because it's a like Middle Eastern themed thing, we would do like Bollywood dances there. And so to see a Bollywood dance here in a Marvel movie, I was like, ooh, great. Because Bollywood movies are different. Like they are different.
Yeah, totally different.
They are very different. But they still have a lot of fun. And I did like seeing that in this. So Kingo gets introduced. He talks about how he's filming a movie about Icarus, and how he's portraying Icarus.
I'm you.
And then they tell him that Ajax is dead, and then we see his ego. We see. I do like another reason why I like Kingo is that they could have easily just made Kingo an egomaniac. They could have just easily turned him into like another Tony Stark, and just like completely made him self-absorbed. But instead, they actually made it to where like, while he does have an ego on the outside, he's still very soft on the inside.
Yeah,
he still has an emotional side. Because when they tell Ajax that, Kingo that Ajax dead, he immediately like shuts down, and he's like, holy shit, like this is fuck.
Yeah, I can imagine like working in show business as both of us have. There's a lot of pretend around in the atmosphere. And
yeah,
something like reality like that hits, it's just kind of like eye-opening, you know?
Mm-hmm. So then Kingo joins them with his agent.
Kingo has joined the party.
Yeah. It's just an RPG.
Exactly.
That's all this is.
Sephiroth killed Aerith.
So then they go on their way. Then I believe this is where we get one of our first flashbacks.
Somewhere along here.
Yeah, to the them defending a city.
One of the flashbacks is to describe what was going on with Thena, right?
That I think that one is a little bit later.
But it's before we actually meet up with Thena again, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I think before they met up with Kingo, we got a flashback, or like I think even before they went to Ajax, they got a flashback. And that's to
right. That's right.
Yeah, no, they're defending this like Babylonian city. I think is what it was, or was the Babylonian one the second one?
No, it was this one.
It was this one?
It's the same one, because this is just during the daytime where they're fighting off the deviants in the flashback, and then they just kind of hang out there inside the castle.
Yeah. So they defend this Babylonian city from the deviants during the daytime, and then they just kind of hang out until nighttime. Fastos is like, hey, I can give them a steam engine, and Ajax like, listen, we don't want to advance them too fast. And so Fastos is like, you're right. Oh, that's right. That reminds me of another flashback scene that I did really like, and it's later on. But yeah, so then it comes back. So at nighttime, they're all hanging out. There's kind of like this party going on. Makari and Druig, so the speedster and the mind controller, they kind of have a thing going on.
We're gonna fuck later. Yeah. We can't have babies, but we're gonna fuck.
So they're kind of a thing. And then Kingo is listening to Sprite tell her stories. And Icarus and Cersei are kind of flirting.
Awkward flirt.
Yeah, no, and that's basically.
Then they fuck.
That's basically. I think that's in this flashback. Actually,
Yeah.
is when they fuck. So that's the flashback. They get Kingo and everything, and then they come to after they get Kingo, before we meet back up with Gilgamesh and Thena, we get another flashback. This time to Thena. In this flashback, we see the start of Druig's conflict with himself, of the fact that because he's able to control their minds, he can literally make it to where they stop, like he could basically end all conflict on Earth.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't like seeing innocent people just get completely murdered. So like he has the ability to, but he doesn't, because they can't. They aren't allowed to interfere.
They're supposed to be watchers. You fuck. Yeah, I actually do like Druig, actually. I really do, actually. Because I understand... Because I feel like we've all had this kind of, like, naive thought when we were children. It's like, world peace.
Yeah.
Why can't we just have world peace? Everyone's just so mean to each other. Everyone's, like, killing everybody and all that. I can truly understand his conflict event. And he literally actually does have the power to stop all the world conflict and human conflict with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does that.
Yeah, no,
I thought, like, also because he's also kind of an angry, naive child in this sense as well. Because, like, when he took over all the minds of the humans, I thought he was going to be the bad guy. I really did. I thought he was going to be like, no, it's all you. Everyone else in my family, I hate you. We are powerful enough to, like, literally end all human conflict. Why can't we do that? Everyone's dying and all of that. Let's fucking just do it, man. Now I'm gonna send my mind control army to attack all of you.
Yeah.
Why wasn't he the bad? He would have been such a much cooler bad guy.
Yeah, and then you also would have had the emotional turmoil between him and Makari.
And think about, like, his reaction to the plot twist. If he were the bad guy.
Yeah, he could just turn everyone on Icarus.
Or, like, no, the plot twist of Ajax was trying to, like, populate the entire planet so Celestial could eat it or something.
Oh yeah, that too. Well, Icarus wanted it to happen. Ajax was the one who was having second thoughts.
Right.
That's why Icarus killed Ajax.
Right. Yeah.
Is because Ajax didn't know if she could actually go through with it.
But this was during the flashback sequence, so it'd still be Ajax's plot at this moment.
It would be.
Because if you could end human conflict and everyone stopped dying, Ajax could be like, hell yeah!
Yeah.
So we don't have to wait till 2024? We can do it, like, right now? Bruh!
Mind controls all of them to just fuck. Causes the emergence.
That would have been such a better... He would have been such a better villain.
At least better than that deviant.
The who?
He got more screen time than him.
I really like Druig.
But yeah, no. So we learned about a disease through Thena, where Thena is infected with this disease that basically allows you to see the true purpose of why the Eternals are here. So she goes crazy, tries to kill them, fails. Gilgamesh is like, you know what? Instead of erasing all of her memories, let's just keep her. I'll take care of her. We'll be fine.
Okay.
Because Gilgamesh and Thena are a thing. Everyone's kind of just in their own little couples.
Yeah, I can see that.
The only ones who aren't are Sprite and Ajax.
Yeah, because Ajax dies.
Yeah, well, Ajax dies, and she's kind of like the mother to them, and then Sprite just can't because
13.
When we go meet Gilgamesh and Thena, Thena is being crazy psychopath and is drawing by a tree.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly what to think about Thena's whole plot about this virus.
So basically, from what I understood of how they explained it, this mind virus thing that these Eternals can get is it allows them. So every time the emergence happens, all of their memories get erased, and they basically start with a new body. this disease allows them to see their forgotten memories.
Okay.
And so their eyes open to all the pain that they have caused and all the universes that they have restarted. And so it basically opens their eyes to try and stop it. That's why she wanted to kill them, because if they let the deviants take over, then the emergence wouldn't happen. I think by now we should explain what the emergence is, because of how often we've talked about it. The emergence, so basically, every million years or so, the celestial Ereshkigal puts his sperm into planets. Randomly chosen planets. And then once those planets reach a certain population, the energy of the population fertilizes the sperm egg thing, and allows a celestial to be born out of a planet, destroying the planet and restarting the universe. That's how celestials reproduce, and that's how universes are born. Parents, you can use that the next time you try to teach your kids the birds and the bees. When a celestial loves a planet very much. So yeah. So that's what the emergence is the birth of a celestial. Once a planet reaches a population, the Eternals are there to make sure the planet reaches the population it needs to by killing off the deviants that attack. Because of the cosmic energy of the celestial sperm, that's what draws the deviants. We also learned that the deviants were also born of celestials, and then that's why they're mad at them.
Weren't they like where we find out that the deviants originally were supposed to be Eternals, but then there's a malfunction in their programming or something.
Yeah, something like that. And so they're just like cast down to the planets, and Eternals take care of them basically.
I see.
That's like the only important thing we learned from the one deviant.
I see. Yeah, I made a mistake in my deviant programming. I made them fucking wolves.
Yeah. It's like how we got creepers because it was just a misprogrammed pig.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they go get Gilgamesh and Athena. There's some decent banter here with their reunion. During the dinner scene, at least.
It stretches out way too long.
It does drag a little bit. I mean, they do have some, because I mean they do act like a family, with their like relationships to each other.
Yeah,
and everything
especially
like
since like they haven't seen each other in years and years and years.
Yeah.
Some of them at least.
Yeah. And so, like during this dinner scene, it does kind of have that like awkwardness to it of like these are people that haven't seen each other for thousands of years, but they're family. Kind of like a Thanksgiving family reunion almost.
Yeah.
Where like there's some awkwardness, there's some cheesiness to it.
I actually found that kind of interaction between all of them to actually be really good. Mm-hmm. It's just it drags out way too long.
Yeah.
For the sake of padding out the time of the
movie.
Especially, and also comedic timing. Like, it's very off in this movie. So like when they first.
At least some of the jokes.
Some of them, I think they did Kingo brilliantly actually.
Mm-hmm.
But they also try to make Gilgamesh a funny character as well, and it doesn't really work out. Or like maybe it's like slapstick character. I don't know what they were trying to do with Gilgamesh because he dies in the middle of the movie.
He does.
So I don't care. But like there's this one scene where Icarus and the rest tells Gilgamesh that Ajax is dead, and then he's like cooking pie. He's cooking a pie in a pan, and he just like drops it, but the pie doesn't fall out immediately. Now what you're expecting is the pie to fall out because that's funny, but it doesn't actually do that until like 3 seconds later. You're just like building an anticipation for laughter, but you're not actually supposed to do that with laughter. You don't build up anticipation for like just for the funny ha-has. You're like, it's like, all right, let's get ready to laugh. Mm-hmm. It happened, haha. No, you don't do that. Nobody does that. Anticipation is like something when it's built for like fear or jump scares. Like you're anticipating it, but you don't know when to expect it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They did that scene really poorly. was like you're not supposed to anticipate laughter. Because especially when you just see it on the screen, it's like, oh yeah, I know I'm gonna laugh when it's gonna fall out. Oh, hey, look, the pie fell out. Ha ha ha. That was really bad.
I do very much agree with you on that, especially during this scene. So after this, I believe they go and get Makari next, or was it?
No,
Druid?
Makari is just placed in the plot.
Yeah, kind of.
They don't actually go out of their way to find Makari.
No, they do, because they go to get the Olympia. Oh, that's right. No, Makari's the last one they get, because they go get Druid and then they go get Fastos.
Yeah.
That's what it is. On their way to go get Druid, that's when we get the flashback of Druid's of like the big moment of Druid's internal conflict when they're trying.
We got it a little bit earlier, actually,
Yeah.
but we'll finally see what he actually did with that, because war and conflict didn't end when he did that.
Yeah, because this is when they're like talking about like erasing Athena's memories because of the disease that she has. And he's looking out, and he's basically seeing this like war go on in the city between humans, and he's like, I could literally stop all of this right now, but he's not allowed to because of the whole
eternal thing.
Yeah, they can't interfere,
which I don't understand. Like, especially with the plot twist later, but like whatever. Druid should have been the bad guy.
So he has this internal conflict about whether or not he should use his powers to stop all war or to just ignore it.
But seeing as is the MCU, we know that didn't happen.
Yeah,
because Iron Man beat up Ironmonger.
So he leaves the group, and that's kind of the reason why everyone splits off.
We find him again in like deep in like the Amazon rainforest, or
it's not even the Amazonian. It's just some. He's just in some like, I want to say like Swedish forest.
Oh, okay.
Or what? Or like
I thought it was South America.
I thought it was like Iceland.
Really? Okay. Great.
Who knows?
This movie doesn't know how to do forests, apparently.
So he's in the middle of this forest, and he basically made a cult, which for a man who can control minds makes sense that he would start a cult.
Yeah, a mind control cult.
Yeah, so he starts a cult. I mean, it looks like the people are actually there of their own free will. He just controls them to protect the city. From what I noticed,
I'm not sure exactly how it works, but they seem to be living peacefully. Yeah, kind of like when you first walked into the village of Resident Evil 4. Like, they're just doing their own thing, but they're all in control of the Los Illuminados.
Yeah.
You remember that? They're all minding their own farming business, and you just walk along, and then like, Odiosto!
Start throwing their sickles and their hoes at you.
I was wondering if you could recognize the girl in this photograph. Does a fucking 270 rotation.
What? It would have been easier to go 90 degrees this way.
Sorry to have bothered you.
Why did you turn 180 degrees that way when you could have easily turned 90? So they come and get Druid. Druid's not having it, even after they tell him that Ajax died. He's just like, fuck you guys. That's basically his whole attitude. And then the Deviants attack. Oh no!
Oh no!
Our
table! It's broken!
Oh no! Our movie!
Oh no! Alright!
Oh no! Our movie! It's terrible! So then they have to fend off the city. Fight scene. There's some decent bits to it. I mean, I did like the part of Cersei using her powers to basically crush one of them with a tree. Mm-hmm. I thought that was pretty cool.
Kingo using his finger guns.
Yeah, I love the way
using the freaking charge shot. Yeah, I love it.
So it is another good scene to see all their individual like abilities.
Yeah, when it comes to the fighting in this movie, it's CGI. It was like nothing new there, but like at least with the heroes' diverse abilities.
Yeah, they know how to work together.
Yeah, they know how to work together and all that, and they utilize their powers efficiently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very creatively as well.
And so they are able to take down these deviants. However, Gilgamesh is taken out. It fucks up Athena. And this is where we find out that the deviant, the evolution that they got is that they are able to absorb the powers of the Eternals. That's why it was able to heal itself earlier, like Ajax, and now it has the strength of Gilgamesh.
Yeah, that's kind of another flaw in
Yeah.
their programming too, right? They can evolve and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it even the more it
I'll make sure Eternals can't evolve by disguising them as human. Evolution doesn't exist. Yeah, Charles Darwin was wrong.
So another side effect of them of this deviant gaining the abilities is that as it gains more abilities, it becomes more and more humanoid. Now it has the ability to speak, even though it doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah, I don't.
There were honestly like the only thing about the deviant that I like. It made me think. That was the one thing about the deviant, and the reason why it made me think is because I was thinking like, and why like. This is why I wanted the movie to choose one big bad between either the deviant or the emergence, is because both of them are really big threats. Because on one hand you have the emergence, which destroys the planet, killing everyone on it and restarting the universe. And then on the other hand, you have a deviant that is able to evolve, absorb, and kill Eternals, gaining their powers in the process. And so I was like, holy shit, if this Eternal got like the speed of Makari, or got the illusion powers of Sprite, or got Druig's mind control abilities,
That would be scary.
like that would be an intimidating villain. But no, it just got strength and healing.
Well, like it does. It was decided on which characters would survive and which ones would not.
Yeah. But it just made me think like how intimidating of a villain that could be if it actually got the other powers of these Eternals, because they're all powerful in their own right. But certain abilities,
It could have made him stronger.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a battle of like which one should be the bigger threat of the villain. I think it's just which heroes they didn't want to kill off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that could be the reason why.
Yeah.
That would be really.
Even
that is
during,
actually pretty scary to think
even
about,
during
though.
like the final fight when we actually got to see Phastos in his full potential with his powers,
Right, yeah.
of him being able to just build things on the fly,
Right.
Like even after seeing that, I was like, holy shit! If that deviant got that ability, no,
We're done.
yeah,
no.
he could just literally trap all of them and then steal their abilities.
He can fucking Fortnite build on the spot,
Right? But because the film doesn't care, I'm not gonna care. I'm not gonna dwell on it. But yeah. So after they get Druig, after Gilgamesh dies, Athena gets fucked up in the head because Gilgamesh died. Because apparently they loved each other.
we didn't see the sex scene.
God damn it! That's all we want, Marvel.
Marvel knows that half of their fan base are virgins.
This is the closest to sex you'll ever get. So yeah, this is where we get another flashback, I believe. I think the one after this is the one where we find out the truth about Icarus. But this one, because now they're going to go get Phastos. This flashback I actually really liked. And it's the one, because as soon as I saw the mushroom cloud, I knew what we were getting into. And this is just for, like, this scene, its entire intention, because even though some of these, this was the one flashback scene that I think worked well, was the Nagasaki one. And the reason why is because
vaguely remember this.
The reason why is because it didn't dwell on it too long, and it actually so all the flashback scenes, they give a little bit of character context, or like a little bit of that character's internal conflict is.
Yeah.
But some of them do drag on for a bit too long, or they don't fully explore some ideas.
I fucking hate Sprite. Yeah.
But this one, like the Nagasaki one, I really liked, and the reason why is because it really showed, because Fastos is basically the technology guy, he could advance humans so far beyond what they are, if he was allowed to, but he's not. And so, because he helped the humans build something that completely destroyed entire cities, it fucks him up. And so that's why when we see him getting recruited by the team, or getting his reunion scene, that's why when we get that, he's living in the suburbs. He's settled down with a family, and he no longer really cares about inventing things anymore.
It's IKEA.
Yeah, fall collection, IKEA.
Yeah, that was vaguely funny.
The only reason why I didn't laugh too hard at that one is because that was the main joke they used in the commercials.
Yeah. I just think the IKEA part is funny.
Yeah.
That's it.
Built it myself. But yeah, and so I did like the Nagasaki scene, just to get some more emotional
Like, did they ever...
baggage on Fastos.
Yeah, did they ever really explain, though, which inventions he actually did invent?
I think it's implied that almost every major advancement in technology Fastos helped with.
Okay.
Like the invention of the wheel, the invention of the steam engine, the invention of the atomic bomb. I think it's implied that every major advancement he helped with. But the like little things that would like be like effects of those inventions, that's what humans came up with on their own. That's what I think is implied.
Okay. Now it just makes me think even harder if like Ajax didn't want him to build an atomic bomb because he wanted the ultimate population count. Why did she let him?
I don't know.
Especially when the whole idea, because that's why she didn't want Droog to control human minds, because he wanted no interference at all. But if she's allowing some interference from Fastos here with human advancement, even though this human advancement kills a decent number of the population, like almost all of Japan got wrecked.
Yeah.
On the day of the Hiroshima bomb.
We dropped the sun on them twice. They go and they get Fastos. This is where we get them not shoving gayness down our throats.
A tiny bit. The kiss.
Well, yeah, but even then, I mean, like, if they're in love, they're gonna kiss.
But maybe this comes to the same question of, did we need to see that along with the sex scene? Because I know we discussed earlier that it doesn't really push a lot of these things into the faces. These are like just two outlier examples.
Well, I think the sex scene, maybe. The kissing, the kiss, I don't think so.
Okay.
And the reason why is because when I actually first saw them, like when they first approached the house, and there was the guy and the kid, and there was Fastos' husband and the kid, and there was Fastos. Before we even knew that was his husband and kid, I just thought that they were neighbors. Like, I just thought that this was Fastos' house, and those were neighbors that were just like playing in front of his house.
Oh, okay.
As like because he was fixing a bike, and so I just thought that was the kid's bike. And he was like he's like that single guy in like the suburb neighborhood that fixes all the kids' stuff. And so that's what I thought it was until they started to talk to each other, and then I was like, oh, this must be like a relationship of some sort.
Like when we first hear one of the kids say like "Dad," I said to the guys in front of me, he's like, he fucked. It was like, then he turned out to be gay. Oh, he didn't fuck. Because I was actually curious about like, can Eternals reproduce? I don't think they can.
I don't know.
I don't think so. Just makes romanticizing pointless. Anyways, like, wasn't his whole ordeal right now is like he was supposed to have cut himself off from all magic, but he actually
he's cut himself off from inventing things, even though he like protected his house, at least the outside of it.
I just thought that meant magic generally.
Excuse me.
Nice.
Maybe? I don't remember. But yeah, so they go and they get Fastos. They eventually get him to come along. And then that's when they go track down the Olympia, which is their ship. They go track it down, and that's where Makari is. Why they put the speedster on the ship, who knows?
She was literally just dropped in the plot. Nothing whatsoever. I've been hiding out here this entire time. I was written very poorly and last minute. I was probably the last one in the audition room. I just exist for whatever reason.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so they go rescue, but they go get Makari, they go get the Olympia, they start flying off, and then, I don't remember,
It was somewhere along here that they freaking found out the plot twist.
Yeah, they find out that Icarus killed Ajax. Cersei finds out that the reason why, because she's able to contact Ereshkigal, she finds out that the reason why they were sent down to Earth was to keep the planet populated so that they could power the emergence to destroy everything. Sprite then runs off with Icarus to go make sure the emergence happens and to be at the site of it. And Fastos is given the mission of trying to create this like neural link between them so that they can like combine their powers to heighten the powers of one individual
and
Eternal.
Also Druid,
yeah. That way, like if they combine their powers, they can heighten the powers of one of them.
Oh yeah, he gave it this really funny name. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It was a funny name. Oh, fuck.
I guess it wasn't funny then.
Yeah. I think the reason why it was funny to us is because it was probably one of the best jokes in the film.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how when we all saw Justice League, we thought the Flash was the best character only because he was actually like kind of funny. But then rewatching it, you learn how unfunny he actually is.
Oh yeah.
You just wanted something to like about the film, and so we all just put it on the Flash. Setting up basically the climax. During this, or like a little bit earlier in this film, Cersei had a talk with Dean over the phone, and Cersei was like, "Hey, Dean, you know that uncle? Yeah, you should talk to him because you said you wanted to make amends with him. You should do that before the planet goes away."
She doesn't say that the planet's gonna go away.
No, but she's like, "Listen, Dean, go talk to your uncle who you want to make amends with because like, you never know what might happen.
You might die.
Yeah.
Like right now."
Yeah. So then they go off into the climax. Volcano.
Volcano, yeah.
Yeah. Because splooge.
It doesn't, also just circling back a little bit, it doesn't make any sense why Ajax, if she wanted the entire world to be populated, like over vastly populated, it doesn't make any sense why she would say no to Druid, stopping all human conflicts, but also allow Fastos to make the atomic bomb to kill people. Doesn't make any sense.
Well,
I don't want any interference except for Fastos. You can fucking create whatever.
Thinking back on it, I think what it was is so I don't if my memory serves me right, Ajax didn't know the true purpose of why they were there until right before she died. All she knew, like the rest of them, was that they couldn't interfere except to save the humans from deviants. And then Ajax learned, after talking with Ereshkigal, after everyone had split and after years, she learned that their whole thing is that they have to keep the planet populated to cause the emergence to destroy everything. And then she calls Icarus. Icarus comes over and she tells Icarus that she doesn't want that, and then that's when Icarus kills her because Icarus has this strong moral of like, we have a mission, we have to get it done. So that's why Icarus kills Ajax.
But that flashback was just the two of them at that South Dakota house. It just made it seem implied that the both of them knew from the very beginning, actually. I don't remember exactly.
This movie's a mess anyway, so who fucking cares?
I fucking hate this movie. Okay, yeah, because it didn't... I don't remember. Did Ajak ever talk with Arashim at all in this movie?
Yes.
Okay. I don't remember that.
Because I think she actually talks to him about how she can't go back, like can't go through with the mission, and then Arashim is like, "You have to."
Well, that was like at the end, but like you were saying that she didn't know what the plan was from the very beginning, and I'm saying that she did.
I don't remember. This movie's a mess, anyways.
Cool. I'm glad you hate it now. I think.
That's
Yes. Good, Bryan. Join the dark side.
I need to rewatch it. Is what I need to do.
Well, good luck with that. I ain't rewatching this.
I'll rewatch it when it comes on Disney Plus eventually. So yeah, so they go to where the emergence is happening on Earth.
Hold on, can we briefly discuss, because it is in that South Dakota flashback of because it was inevitable that Eternals had to recognize the events of Infinity War and Endgame because of the shared universe and long form storytelling.
Oh yeah.
The MCU.
So Thanos getting rid of half the population slowed down the emergence because getting rid of half the population is a big deal. So he slowed down the emergence. But then, because the Avengers brought everyone back, that released enough cosmic energy and the sudden rise in population to put enough life into start the emergence process. That's what we learned from that. And then Icarus kills Ajak.
Is that there really? I thought there was like a little bit more to it. It's like it made. That's why it was that event that made Ajak have second thoughts about the whole ordeal.
And then Icarus just feeds her to wolves.
I don't understand exactly that. And then Icarus. I think he knew too. From the beginning as well.
Mm-hmm. I have a sneaking suspicion he did. Especially when he talks to Cersei about it.
Yeah.
Before they split off again. So in this final confrontation,
feeders of wolves.
Yeah.
Like it's inevitable that like all the films after Endgame have to basically explain why they did not interfere with the events of Infinity War and Endgame at all.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know the real reason is because Kevin Feige didn't have anything on his contract at that point. We don't criticize harshly about that fact that all the films now have to make an excuse as to why they did not interfere or like involve themselves with the events of Infinity War and Endgame at all. So I do think that's like a dumb criticism that people have been having, but it just goes along with the territory of like trying to do this this has never been done before in cinema. It's like long form storytelling throughout various different films, and so we're just kind of seeing how the effects of this very first and very successful one will go. Mm-hmm. So that's a dumb criticism if that is being spread anywhere. I actually don't know if people are like saying that. Why didn't you fucking stop Thanos from doing the thing? Because Kevin Feige didn't have them on his contract, gang. You know that.
So they go to the final confrontation. Everyone's here. Okay, so with this fight, the Deviant wants to kill them all. Icarus and Sprite just want to stop Cersei and the good Eternals from stopping the emergence. So that's basically what's going on. Druig is essentially helpless because all they can do is mind control humans. However, what the Neuralink was for was to heighten Druig's mind control ability to try to put it to sleep, which does work for a little bit until Icarus laser beams him into the fucking earth.
Like that's why he had to like team up with the powers of like what, Phastos and Makari, right?
Yeah, Phastos.
Just Phastos. Okay.
Yeah, well, because so basically Phastos. So the Neuralink was for so all of them wear a bit of it because it's a connection thing between all of them to heighten one of their abilities. So the one that they heightened then was Druig, so that he could try to put the Celestial to sleep, which works for a little bit. before Icarus stops them. So yeah, Icarus stops him, throws him down, and they all think that he's dead now. He's not.
He's Superman, gang. You know, you can never kill Superman.
Yeah. So then they go and kill they go attack the Deviant. The Deviant comes after Thena. Thena takes it on one-on-one, kills it. Honestly, that's really it. The Deviant does nothing special.
Yeah. I really did not like that.
I didn't either.
Especially, like, I think I said it earlier, but it was like, when you're going to market the toys along with this movie, you're going to make that Deviant thing the main bad guy of the toy line.
Mm-hmm.
But he's only given 5 minutes of screen time, and that's just how he goes, and that's kind of where they dropped Thena's virus thing.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have any strong opinions about that, but like it's just kind of there, and it kind of is dropped.
Yeah. So then they try to take down Icarus. So Cersei comes up with the idea that she can transform the Celestial to stop it with her ability. So she tries to get up to where the Celestial is. Cersei tries and stop her. Not Cersei. Sprite.
Want a Sprite cranberry?
Tries to stop her. But Sprite only has illusions, so she can't do much. So then Sprite's just like, I want to be a normal person.
I wanted to fuck Icarus so badly, but I'm 13, and Marvel probably should go to jail for writing this. Yeah, and it's also, who knocked her out?
Sprite? Druid.
It was Druid?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I remember my theater going, like, when that happened, everyone was like, Jesus.
Jesus.
Did your theater react to that?
No.
Really?
Our theater was very quiet.
Okay, this is probably dead then. Dead audience. But, like, our theater just kind of, like, went, like, Jesus, fuck, that was kind of harsh. Because she's 13. And it just fucking rock and just almost break her spine. Yeah, everyone had a reaction to that in my theater.
They then do the Neuralink once more, because Icarus has been bound by Phastos. Kinky.
Fuck you.
They do the Neuralink once more because with the combined powers of the emergence, because of the cosmic energy that the emergence is radiating, and because of their Neuralink, Cersei transforms it into stone, basically turns it into a statue. And then they go on with their merry ways. They turn Sprite back. They turn Sprite into a normal human, so she can now age and live a normal life.
Icarus kills himself.
Icarus kills himself by flying into the sun.
And it's like, oh, look at that. It's symbolic. Wow. Great. And he flew too close to the sun. Wow.
They do all their summed up stuff.
Yeah, they make Sprite into a normal human now because they suddenly can do that.
It's because of the leftover cosmic energy of the emergence.
Oh, yep. Let's go with that.
So then they go on their separate ways, and Cersei talks with Dean. Dean's like, hey, so we shouldn't keep secrets from each other anymore. You kept the secret of being an Eternal from me. I understand that. But then you told me. Now I have a secret that I need to tell you. Right before he's about to tell her, she gets whisked off away by the Celestial. Same with all the other Eternals that are still there.
Not all of them.
No.
Well, the ones that stay on Earth. What was it? It was Cersei.
No, Cersei got taken.
That's what I said.
Oh, yeah.
The ones that got taken were Cersei. Who else?
The only ones that weren't taken were the ones that died. So Icarus, Gilgamesh, Ajak, and I think Sprite, because Sprite's no longer an Eternal because she was turned human.
I think it was Makari, Druig, and Phastos on the ship for the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it was like Cersei, Thena, Kingo,
that's right. They all got taken.
There's a lot of characters to keep track of in this movie. And also another dumb criticism I think this movie might get is oh, there are too many characters, too many heroes in this movie, and there's not enough time to flesh all of them out. That's not exactly the point of fleshing every single individual one out. Some will get more screen time than others, for sure, but that's just kind of the nature of how it goes, because Cersei being the main one, and Icarus being the main villain, soon enough, they're going to get the most screen time and all that.
Yeah. So
you don't need to worry about, like, other ones like Makari, or who else gets, like, Gilgamesh, that gets little screen time. And all that. I just think that's a dumb criticism. Like, the two dumb criticisms are, like, the characters didn't get enough character development. That's not the point. Why did they interfere in Infinity War Endgame? Kevin Feige didn't have them on a contract.
So those three get taken. Those three stay on the ship. Sprite's a human now, so Sprite gets to stay.
So yeah, Erishim brought Cersei, Kingo, and Fina.
Mm-hmm. And is like, you stopped the emergence of a Celestial. You guys will go to trial. Yay.
I was fucking like, Erishim, he sees the spaceship and he just fucking grabs it. You guys too. Don't you think?
Just waiting for Nick Fury on his scroll ship just to drive by and see this and be like, motherfucker. But no, so the Celestial that they might be setting up, because Erishim said that they're going to be put on trial, the Celestial that they might be setting up is a Celestial that has 3 heads, one to be the judge, the jury, the executioner. So that might be the Celestial that they're setting up. And then that's the end of the movie. First post-credit scene shows the 3 that stayed on the ship: Makari, Druig, and Phastos. They get approached by an imp that may or may not be voiced by Seth Rogen, because that's what he sounded like. And he's like, horny man. And then out steps Eros, aka the brother to Thanos.
Star Fox.
Star Fox.
Do a barrel roll.
So he gets introduced, played by the one and only Harry Styles.
Great.
Now all those Harry Styles fangirls have to go watch all 23 MCU movies to catch up. And he was a really good pick to play Eros. And then the second post-credit scene we get is Dean. Now you, from what I heard, you didn't actually see the second credit scene.
No, I did not watch the second. I was done with this movie. This movie is garbage. I left after the first post-credit scene. I'm not sticking around.
I'm gonna see if I can actually find I'm gonna see if that post-credit scene is here on YouTube.
2 very boring minutes later.
Because I've seen a few.
Okay.
Eternals post-credit scene 2. Okay, this isn't like the full end credit scene. It's just like the last 30 seconds of it. But
Okay.
I think the full end credit scene is like a minute.
Sure you're ready for that, Mr. William?
Yeah. Now the person talking, or the voice that you heard, that's the sword.
The sword.
Well, at least the whispery voice was the sword. That voice that you heard at the very end, not quite sure yet.
Okay.
Could have been just like a person that like was at the place or something. Don't really know for sure. But that is a very special sword. That is a sword that can kill Celestials. So the Black Knight is who he's credited as now instead of Dean Whitman. And the Black Knight, I'm not too familiar with the Black Knight. I do believe I know that the Black Knight isn't just like a singular character. It's actually like it's like a title that goes down.
Oh, okay. Sonic and the...
But yeah, no. So that's I don't know too much about the Black Knight. I can't go into full details about him, but yeah.
Okay, so with all that, especially with like the post-credit scenes setting up like two different things, was that kind of also the point of the movie? Was just a setup?
Yeah, no, I just feel like I think the reason why this movie isn't the best is because it's just used as a setup, as a support movie. It's not made to show us the importance of these characters. It's just done to set up and support others. That's all it's really done for.
Yeah, like granted, the MCU has like done this before, but they've also gotten like good ratings and all that because the story within themselves, like Age of Ultron, that set up like a lot of things, and I guess we kind of forget that Age of Ultron like set up like almost all of the events to Civil War and Infinity War and all that. Yeah, so but like the story even within itself in Age of Ultron wasn't that half bad. I don't remember much of it, but like, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Sentiment? Yeah.
Done to do a lot of setup and not really be its own story.
Yeah, but like even the story within themselves in those movies aren't really that bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, I honestly, Age of Ultron, at least in my opinion, is a very underrated film. I thoroughly enjoy Age of Ultron. I mean, it could be because I'm biased because Ultron is one of my favorite villains.
Okay.
And the guy who played him, I can't remember his name. James Spader. I knew his last name was Spader. I just can't remember his first name.
He's great.
He did great for that, and I love watching behind the scenes footage of that movie because both him and Mark Ruffalo were both in motion capture suits, and there's just videos of them like hanging out with each other in their mocap suits. Because I mean, he did all the motions for Ultron, and so it's actually, I really love watching behind the scenes footage of him doing that opening monologue, Ultron's first monologue of "There Are No Strings on Me." I love watching him actually do that because I mean, he was so physical for it. I love it. Just his voice alone was great for Ultron.
Where were we? But again, this film, if that was the point, was just to set up future events in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The story that this film presents itself is not great either. This is only the latest MCU movie. We're gonna have to see down the line how it works. Because like, we probably had this reaction towards Age of Ultron maybe back then. I don't really know. Like, of it setting up all the Civil War and Infinity War events as well, but we recognize that in 2018, not in 2015. So maybe down the line where we'll see what they do with the Celestials, Eternals, Black Knight, dress wearing dude. We'll have to see, but the story itself is garbage. I am sorry. The only good thing that I liked about it was like Kingo. He's like the best and well written character in this entire movie, and it's probably the only one you'll ever laugh at, along with his little travel agent sidekick as well. But maybe like the idea behind Druig, I really like Druig. I'm sorry, I really do. I just wish that the story made him the main villain, because like, but everything else, comedic timing, story narrative, like the premise behind the Eternals, the pseudo woke stuff that it presents in this stuff, I don't like it. It's garbage, and I will not see this movie ever again. I'll do it for a video, but I won't go out of my way to like pop the disc into the DVD player. You have anything to say, Bryan?
No,
we're fucking done.
Yeah.
With this movie. This movie is garbaggio. So, well, I did want to ask, like, you said beforehand that you did actually like this movie, but now you're like super fucking done with this movie. What changed?
Just the fact that I forgot it, because I knew I would. I knew going into this that this was going to become a forgettable MCU movie, and I was right.
Is that why you kind of were like not excited for to watch this movie at all?
Yeah.
Beforehand? Okay.
Honestly, yeah.
I see. And yep, expectations were met. Hooray. Huh. So Yeah, if you're still here listening to us talk about this Marvel's very first rotten rated film ever in MCU history, then congratulations, you made it to the end with us. You suffered along with us. Yay. We are really done talking about this movie. I think we have said all of our points and everything that we need to say about this movie, because this is not a good movie, and I'm really sorry to say that. Because Marvel has been really great at making all these movies. Like, we don't know what kind of art or like direction that's going on over there. That's why they always keep cranking out really great films and all that. But this one was just a stinker. You know, maybe that was kind of inevitable, that all of our expectations were set really high for them to make consistently good movies, and then we finally get a stinker. Was that kind of inevitable, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that it wouldn't be able to continue its reign forever. It was inevitable that there would be at least one bad one. And honestly, I think it could just be burnout as well. I think some of it does have to be blamed on burnout, because, I mean, yes, we do have Spider-Man right around the corner, and I know that a lot of people are excited about that. But I think the reason why movies like Black Widow is definitely a sign of burnout, because we didn't need it, especially at that time. If it would have come out right when it was supposed to, then it probably would have been fine, and it probably would have done well. I still would have hated it because of what they did with Taskmaster, but
that's beside
the point. But it would have done better than it did box office wise. Okay. With Shang-Chi did do better than Black Widow, but it still wasn't up to like where Marvel was before the pandemic. I think the reason why Shang-Chi, when it comes to the Marvel movies that are coming out that are on characters that we've already seen and have already been established, like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Spider-Man No Way Home, things like that, I think those ones are going to do great. Okay. The ones that are going to be coming out that are newer, that are about characters that we haven't seen before, those are the ones that I'm expecting aren't going to do as well. Okay. And the reason why is because they're newly introduced characters. They're characters that haven't been introduced yet. And they're characters that we just don't have a connection with from the Infinity Saga. And I think all of us older fans, I mean, I can definitely feel it. I can definitely feel the burnout kicking in, because honestly, after Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I feel myself being done with the MCU. Like, there might be a few here and there that I might like the shows, for example. The shows I might be interested in, because those seem like interesting shows, like Moon Knight. I'm really excited for Moon Knight. I'm really excited for Secret Invasion. I'm really excited for She-Hulk. I'm also really excited for
She-Hulk's 10 episodes, by the way.
Oh.
Are you still?
She-Hulk, and I'm also really excited for Marvel Zombies. I'm really excited for those. Just because those are either characters that I really enjoy, that I don't know much about, or that I just love the storylines of. But when it comes to these new characters, because we're getting into yes, at the time Iron Man was a fairly unknown superhero when that movie came out. But like a majority of like the starting heroes, like Thor, Captain America, Hulk, those were all characters that I was familiar with. And now that we've introduced all these familiar characters like Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Black Panther, all these familiar characters, now that we're getting into like the unfamiliar ones and the more obscure ones, I find myself being less and less interested, only because I don't know that much about them. While it would be fun to know about them and to learn about them, I just don't want to. And it's because of that burnout, because I know that they're going to be connected to something bigger.
I hate this movie.
I think we should just wrap it up.
Do you hate this movie?
Yeah, fuck it. Okay, I think we should just end.
So yeah, thank you for tuning in to our Marvel Studios Eternals Review and Synopsis podcast, our very first bad movie for the channel. We hope you power through that thing kind of like we did by the end of it. We are done with this movie. We are done talking about it. This is not a good movie at all. If you enjoyed it for whatever reason, cool. Great for you. But we did not. We presented our facts and our logic here to explain why this movie is objectively bad. It is. Oh my! I fucking hate this movie. I will not go back to be watching this movie at all. I'll do it for a video. Maybe that's the only way I can be convinced. That is the only way I'll be convinced. But yeah, and Bryan, by the end of it now, you are not a fan of this movie either. No. Cool. He's shaking his head and is on his phone, looking at booty. Well, with that said, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with all of our new movie review and synopsis podcasts. The next we're going to be doing is going to be a good movie. Hopefully, it's going to be great no matter what. It's for the Marvel Boner Gang. Spider-Man! Thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night and take care.
Woo! Unenthusiastic woo.
I'm ruined. I have nothing left except Spider-Man.